If you're a San Antonio Spurs fan, I hope you like defense.
Holmgren trying to answer. He is stopped and taken away.
Ja puts the crossover on Wemby, and Wemby comes back over the top to reject Ja.
Now, if you're a fan of defense, you are going to like the San Antonio Spurs, because one thing is very clear about what the Spurs are building. They are looking to build a team that is impossible to score on. A team with length, versatility, strength, and a guy who has the potential to be the best defender in NBA history. That's what the Spurs are currently building, and I couldn't be more excited to see it. And when I say they are looking to build an all-time great defense, that obviously starts with Victor Wembanyama, who has the potential to be an all-time great defense by himself, finishing his rookie season second in DPOY voting, becoming the second rookie since 1974 to lead the league in blocks, and going on to average the most blocks post-All-Star game since Dikembe Mutombo in 1994. And you might be thinking to yourself, if Wemby was this good defensively, then why did the Spurs finish the season as the 21st ranked defense in the NBA? Well, that's where this gets scary for the rest of the NBA, because Wemby only really started to figure out how to dominate games defensively over the second half of the season. In fact, all you have to do is compare the first 32 games of the year to the last 50 games of the season. In other words, from 2024 onwards, in which the Spurs were the 11th ranked defense in the NBA. Every single team that had a higher defensive rating during those 50 games made the playoffs. That alone should tell you the Spurs will be a top 10 defense next year. But it goes deeper than just Wemby. Just look at their top picks over the last 4 years. Stefan Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, and now Stefan Castle. Every single one of these players made a name for themselves in college for an ability to defend. And every single one of these players has made it clear they want to be elite defensive players in the NBA. This is what Stefan Castle said only days after being drafted to the Spurs. I have a lot of aspirations defensively in the league. I think I'll be shooting for hopefully first team all defense the next couple of years, and just try to expand on that and see how far I can take it. And he doesn't just have aspirations, he has the physical tools and defensive IQ to make that happen. Just watch him here where he's guarding the ball handler out top. The screener slips the screen, and he knows that the point guard is about to make that pass to the middle of the floor. But instead of trying to recover, he times his jump perfectly to deflect the pass. And this isn't just some fluke either. All throughout the college season, Castle showed off incredible defensive instincts and just a sixth sense for deflecting passes. Not only that, but he has the versatility to defend multiple positions. I know it's really common to say, oh, this guy can defend 1 to 5, or he has the potential to do this. Well, as far as guards go, Stefan Castle is about as close as you will get from a 19-year-old. Watch him here on the post-up. He absorbs both bumps, going up vertically, not biting on the pump fake, and forcing the 3-second from his discipline. I have no doubts this was why the Spurs drafted him, because in addition to the really interesting tools he has on offense, at the bare minimum, you are getting a 6'6", strong, athletic guard who can defend multiple positions, handle the ball, and playmake, all of which is a perfect complement to your franchise player. And everything I just said in that sentence about Stefan Castle could apply to Jeremy Sochan. I know everyone loves to hate on Jeremy Sochan because the point guard experiment didn't go great, and he hasn't been afraid to troll fan bases on Twitter, but let's make one thing very clear. Jeremy Sochan is a good NBA player, and for someone who just turned 21, that is a very big compliment. Just because he didn't quite work out as a point guard doesn't negate the fact he is 6'9" with ball handling and passing skills, an improved jump shot, and most importantly, he's a menace on the defensive side of the floor. Just look at what he's been doing over the offseason for Poland. Here he is absolutely hounding Eric Gordon. Sure, Eric Gordon isn't in his prime, but that's still an NBA player, and Jeremy Sochan made him look like he's never touched a basketball in in his life, and that right there shows why Sochan is such a good defender. He's got the combination of size, length, strength, and quickness, a combination that locked up Luka Doncic last season. Yes, Luka Doncic had the worst shooting game, not just of his season, but since 2019 when playing against Jeremy Sochan. His worst shooting performance in 5 years, and it was Sochan just being a pest all game long, using his physicality to constantly get into the body of Luka before then using his length to contest shots at a level that Luka wouldn't see too often. Even a play like this, which was a rare bucket for Luka, shows the intensity Sochan was playing with, where he navigates the Gafford screen and watch him move his feet perfectly on the deceleration, absorbing the contact from Luka before getting a perfect contest. Sometimes Luka is just that good. However, even Luka Doncic will have troubles consistently scoring on defense like that, hence the numbers. And it wasn't just Jeremy causing Luka trouble either. We also saw what Stefan Vassell is capable of doing. Like here where PJ swings the ball to Luka, Vassell slides over to close out, before then doing great to stay in front of Luka and then using his active hands and length to force the turnover. Or on this play where he reads the pass from Luka the entire way, picking it off and then going down the other end for the dunk. And just like with Stefan Castle, Stefan Vassell is another guy who has made it clear he wants to be a great defender in this league. I talked about it earlier in the season where I just want to be that defensive anchor. I want to be somebody who is picking up and just being disruptive. And these four right here are the core of the San Antonio Spurs. Four guys who have the tools and willingness to become great defenders, but also four guys who are all capable of creating for themselves and for others. Honestly, sounds very similar to some of those great Spurs teams of the past. And just like those great Spurs teams of the past, all of this is revolving around a generational defensive big man. Because I mentioned some of the numbers from Wemby, but it's more than just the block numbers or the defensive rating of the team. Wemby puts legitimate fear in opposition players every time he's on the floor. Just like on this play, where Nickeil Alexander-Walker has a clear path to the rim after the Euro step, but passes it up because he sees Wemby in the background. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Wemby's block numbers reduce over the next couple of years, but the Spurs defense continue to improve because it'll get to a point where teams will take any shot that doesn't involve trying to finish around the rim with Wemby waiting. And I didn't mention this before, but another reason the Spurs' defensive rating last year was so poor wasn't just because of the slow start to the year, it was also because of a lack of depth. You are now bringing in two guys in Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul who aren't in the primes of their career, but they are still productive and helpful NBA players. And Chris Paul is someone who will only benefit the Spurs defensively as one of the greatest guard defenders of all time. Now obviously, he's not that guy anymore, but I know for a fact he has an abundance of knowledge that he can share with the likes of Stefan Castle, Trey Jones, and honestly anyone on the roster, because you don't become a 9-time all-defensive player at 6 foot if you aren't a basketball genius. Chris Paul is exactly that, and it's easy to get lost in the offensive side of things with CP3, but defense is an even more coachable aspect of the game than offense, particularly on the court, where his communication and knowledge of the game is going to be hugely beneficial. But with that being said, feel free to check out that video, subscribe if you want, it's free, dropping a like would be cool, but most importantly, thanks for watching and have a very great day.